Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition on the PC on Dante Must Die difficulty. This is my SSS-Rank guide and walkthrough. We're currently on mission 14. It is entitled Force of Ruin. So you'll need to obtain 7,400 stylish points in this mission, cleared in 29 minutes, and obtain the requisite number of orbs. To obtain all 100% of the orbs, you have to get eaten by one of the faults and go into one of these underground dungeons and do a fight. Now, this is the fight that I kept resetting for because it is the best of the lot. There's 3 different fights that you can have. One is with these enemies down here, with the couple of chimera seeds that can turn the others into chimeras if you're not fast enough. But the other fights, they're the assaults with the chimeras on them, or the scarecrows. The worst, as you can imagine if you've played the game, the absolute worst would be the assaults with the chimeras on them, because then you can't even do drives from distance with the threat of them doing projectiles at you. So it's basically up to you. You don't even have to do this fight if you don't care about the 100% of the orbs. Because down here there's a hidden cache, and there's also a couple of eggs that you have to hit. So this mission is quite difficult. There's no boss fight on it, so we're basically just trying to get out of the forest. And it does give you a description on the title card saying that you have to get out of the forest as quickly as you can, but it's not like it's a marathon race or anything, so don't worry about that. All you have to do is just get out of the area. So if you don't do this fight, you know, no problem. This fight, I mean, think about it. You can have the assaults with the chimeras on them, and just a bunch of flailing nonsense garbage down here with them throwing projectiles at you. So if you and that's the one that seems to be most common. I'm not sure. I just seem to get that one more than the other one. But here's the hidden cache right there. And then the worst part about this chapter, as you might imagine, is the faults, because they will ruin an entire fight for you if you get swallowed by them. Now, I was intentionally getting eaten by them a moment ago, but now we're going to try to avoid them. And I have some criteria about this mission that I try to abstain from. It's that I don't get eaten by a fault, and if I do, I start the mission over. So not only, you know, am I trying to get everything to work, I have to watch out for the faults. Now, why is that? Because if you get eaten by the faults and you do extra fights, you won't have a problem getting the stylish points, probably. So I just, as I'm trying to uphold my my mission stance about not doing extra fights, I'm just trying to avoid doing them too, by getting eaten by a fault. So no worries, do whatever you like, because this mission has a couple of good fights, but the ones that aren't good, they're horrible. Just absolutely horrible. Now, this one down here is not too bad. Let's talk about the faults for a second, because you might wonder, do they omnisciently seek you out to try to eat you? Do they go all over the place? No, actually, to have them come up from the ground, you actually have to walk over where their general vicinity is, and they only patrol a certain area. So once you know where they are, if you stay away from them, like if you want to clear a certain grid for yourself and just stay in that grid after you've killed the fault that you know patrols that area, you won't have too many problems as long as you just don't move out of the way of you know, your safe space, as it was. Because even if you know where the faults are, in the course of a fight, you can almost forget where they are sometimes. You just, you know, there's better things to think of than a fault, because it's a garbage enemy that shouldn't be in the game probably, and it's kind of sad like that. I'm not sure what I was doing there. I think I was trying to charge the gun, and I was not looking carefully. Now, there is a Faust in this forest area over here, so he doesn't come in until you've killed the second Mephisto, so no worries about that. You don't have to kill these guys in any specific way. But just remember, the camera can definitely fuck you when you're trying to do this Omen move. Because if you are not really quick to realize the camera shifts in this game, and sometimes, hell, you can't even expect what the game might do to suddenly switch the camera on you. My controller actually just busted now, and I can't. The one thing that I can't do is reset the camera, so I had to. I'm ordering some new parts, and I'm gonna try to fix it because I have to be able to reset the camera. I really like doing that, but let's talk about the next fight, because the next fight has the potential to be difficult. And hell, I guess it is difficult because the faults are just a nuisance. Because after you kill one assault in this next area, you're gonna spawn a blitz. Now, the only good thing about this blitz over here is that since he's blind, he hits indiscriminately, and he could actually kill enemies for you. So what I prefer to do is kill one or two of these faults in this upper grid, and then just stay in this grid up here. If you want to, you can go around, spawn all the faults, kill them, and then have a free roam of the area. But it takes too long, and I'm never really liking to do that, because if the blitz doesn't cooperate with me, then I've just spent a long time killing a bunch of faults, and I could just kill two. There's like 6 in this whole area. 6, maybe 8, I'm not sure. But that blitz should be coming in here, so what I would recommend, rather than just spawning all the faults, killing them all, just kill a couple of them and then just stay in this upper area. And then once the blitz comes in, you might have to do some clever maneuvering to stay in here, but basically he should give you an assist in killing some of these assaults for you. And there aren't too many of them as well, so it shouldn't be that bad. I thought that this game had two blitzes at a time, but that's not in this game actually. That's in the Bloody Palace. So that's never anything that you do in the main campaign. Now I am moving a little bit out of the way because, well, I guess I just wanted to. I know where all the faults are, but even the best of us, fully knowing where they are, can get swallowed up by them. And there's nothing worse than it, because, well, what happens if you get eaten by it? It puts you down into one of those dungeon areas, and you just have to do a fight, and then you start over from the last checkpoint area. So this chapter is very difficult to obtain those stylish points. 7,400, I barely got it. I always barely get it because I'm doing things the way I want to do them, not doing any extra fights, and it's quite difficult. So we're going to try to milk this thing for points as much as possible. And what I mean by milk is, after you do one distorted real impact, don't do another one, and try not to shoot it any extra times, because after one distorted real impact session, unless you have really hit it hard with some of the key frames of the distortion, it's likely not going to be dead. And you don't want to get it down to the red, because you still want to capitalize on another distorted real impact before it turns into the red. Okay, so that's, and if it double triggers, so much the better, because that increases its HP, I think, or at least the its durability to take damage. And see how we're at least getting a couple of real impact sessions over here. Now you say you're trying to get multiple real impact sessions. Why not just have one real impact session and then have another one immediately afterwards? There's definitely time for it. Yeah, there is time for it, but then there's also time for accruing more stylish points by hitting it, by real impact, by royal guarding, evading, doing all those things that give you points. I'm taking any points that I possibly can over here, so that's why I say milk it, because the next fight is absolutely atrocious, and it's Ooh, almost got hit by that thing. The thing about the faults too is that as you're going to attack them, you can inadvertently get stuck in their mouth. So you have to be really careful about attacking them, because it takes, I think, 3 full hits by the sword and 2 full hits by the by this weapon here, the gauntlets. Lucifer, I'm not sure. I don't really use Lucifer too much, but here we go. How do you think I am at the real impact? Because I think that I'm pretty shitty at it. I seem to hardly ever get any bizarre extra good damage, and I'm even hitting these. I don't even think they give you stylish points. I mean, you can't even give me 1 stylish point. You piece of shit game. You're throwing this garbage enemy at me, and you can't even give me 1 fucking extra point. Pretty bad, huh? I mean, that is really lousy. That's almost saying that that's not even a real enemy if it doesn't even give me a point. One fucking point. Really lousy. But how are you coming to like Dante now that you're in it? You know, in it for the long haul with this guy. I'm having fun with him. I always begrudgingly take the control up to play as this character, but I always, when I have to put it down and switch back to Nero, I know that Nero's fun, but I always know that Dante is just a little bit more complicated in a good way. And he's just more versatile. He's more fun. He can be more fun to use. It's just up to you how you like things. Here's the last fight over here, and it's a mandatory fight against flailing assaults. So I am going to use the in past walkthroughs I've called this thing the spaceship, and if that tickles your fancy, I'll keep calling. Actually, what are these things? Are there? Oh, maybe these aren't assaults. Oh no, they're not assaults. They're scarecrows, which is a little bit better. So all you need to do is just kill one of the faults by any one side of the perimeter over here, and then just stay over here, because like I was been saying, the faults are in a specified area, and if you know where they are, you can make sure you avoid them that way. So we still have 4 more stylish. Actually, no, this is a combination of assaults and scarecrows, so it's really bad. In my spaceship over here, almost. How did I not get eaten by that fault right there? God might know. I certainly don't. But this is a pretty pathetic strategy, wouldn't you say? But we're fighting an enemy that's very difficult to deal with as it is, and let's make sure you want to clear this fault over here if you have to, but we're looking pretty good. If you want to, you can fill your disaster gauge so that you can have more of a time on this, as it is this spaceship, if you want to. I'm not sure why I called it a spaceship, but it was appropriate, I think. It kind of looks like a spaceship. And if you fill your disaster gauge, like I said, you could have a little bit more time on this thing, but you really don't get a ton of time on it. I'm not sure how much more time you get on it, but as it stands, if you have no pink in that disaster gauge, you only can fire 2 to 3 rockets at a time. So what I'm trying to do is just switch up a little bit. Oh, we did get above 7400 by now. That's good. Okay, and then once that fight's cleared, make sure that you don't forget these eggs over here in front of the entrance to the mansion. And the more I think about this game, does this game seem like a horror game to you? Because I know the first game was definitely horror themed, and then I never played the second game, but I know that the third game started to be more action oriented. But I really like how they dropped the horror aspect of it and they put it like this. It does have some themes that are kind of severe, but it's also combined with this sense of tongue-in-cheek sort of action slash comedy sort of deal. So I like it. Now when you come back here, there's a couple of things. say what you want about having to traverse environments that you've already been to, but the nice thing is that when you're doing that, you definitely memorize where everything is. So you don't have to always, remember where new things are in environments that you haven't been through. That's it. But that is difficult. Now, of course, if you just do extra fights and stuff, you shouldn't have any problem dealing with it. We're heading back to the Fortuna Castle in the next video, so let's see how we did. I know I didn't do too great in the stylus points. I'm curious to see how long it took me to do that mission. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Clear time. Actually, doesn't it say the stylus points first? Okay. Oh, clear time. 18 minutes and 24 seconds. Stylus points. I didn't even get 500 more than required. So that was a close call. Very close. And hopefully you don't have too bad of a time in that chapter, but it can really be a bad one. So sorry to say that, but it's true. I will see you in mission 15. Please take care.